AA, see you in church. Hi, I'm Manuel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, write a message, and put the hand up. I always say put the hand up early because I do that. I do it early because I have the tendency to forget to do that, and it really angers me. I'll go, oh, I gotta go back and put it up, or I just get mad and don't do it. So I do it right away. And don't forget to leave an idea you might think I should talk about or something like that. Anyway, I was thinking about talking about panhandlers. Don't want to say the homeless because a lot of those people aren't homeless. When I was younger, and that's way, way back, there was a story that came out. It was about this millionaire who lived in Beverly Hills. He would go drop off his kids over in their Ivy League colleges. They lived at home. And then he would park his car. He had a deal with some restaurant of some kind. He'd park his car there, and he'd go into the bathroom and change into raggedy clothes and go to the airport and panhandle. And he did that for years. And he didn't pay taxes on that because, you don't, it's not a legal job. So someone knew him and saw him there, like dressed like a bum. So, of course, they went to something like, what do they call them? The rags, whatever rags, the gossip rags. And they told them. And the news went and found it, made the connection. He lived in Beverly Hills, had this big mansion and everything. And he was using the money from panhandling at the airport that he was getting from all the different visitors from other countries, other states, tips that they would give him to pay off his own taxes and all that kind of stuff, and living the high life. And he had been sending his daughter and his son to expensive college by doing that. It became a huge scandal, and after that, people were no longer allowed to panhandle in any airport anymore. I'm not saying they should, but that's what happened. Then, while back, I used to work at Mervin's, which no longer exists. Actually, I worked at Bank One, and then I think that's when I first saw him. Then I started working at Mervin's, and I would go stop at McDonald's, purchase what I was going to purchase, and then see the guy, and I gave him money because he was panhandling. And at first, I felt really good. I gave somebody some money, helping somebody, I thought. But then, a month went by, he was still around. 2 months went by, he was still around. 3 months went by, he was still around. And I started going to lunch from one location, and I would go in, and then I exited out the back because it was closer to my work. So one day I was going in for breakfast, and that guy says, "I saw you." And I said, "You saw me do what?" "I saw you. You went into the front, you bought your food, and you went out the back so that you didn't have to deal with me." I said to him, "Excuse me?" I said, "I don't have to deal with you." I said, "For one thing, I work closer to that side, so I go out that side. For another, I'm not working to give you tips. What you're doing it as a job. So if that's your job, that's not my business. Just leave me the hell alone. I'm not going to be working really hard so that you can sit your ass out here and put your hand out and think that I'm going to give you my hard work money. Because you only feel good the first, maybe the second time you help somebody out. But we're not helping you out by keep on giving you tips, giving you our change. You've made that your job and you don't want to work. Well, guess what? I'm working. I'm not working to also feed you. I helped you out once and more than that. And I said, and you should be thankful that people even think about helping you out. But at this point, no. I don't work hard so that I can go and I can give you my money. You're crazy. Go get a job. And I left. And that's where I put two and two together. People like him are the reason I stopped giving to the poor. They've made it their job to go stand out there and panhandle. I know it's become hard to get a job now. But the reason it's hard to get our job now is because everybody from every other country are coming from their country not to, well, to live, but also do your jobs. So now you got college educated people out panhandling. You got all these people that are going to college and they are doing lowercase jobs. They're not doing what they were trained for. Why? Because other people from other country are doing those jobs. And that's the problem with our president. He is welcoming everybody to take our jobs and putting a wall on the ones that are doing the jobs we don't want. I didn't go to college to clean toilets. And the other day we were driving and I saw on every other corner there was a handler where I live. And I'm like, oh my goodness. This is just crazy. One of them even had a college backpack. So I don't know if that person was going to college and trying to make a little bit of extra money by panhandling or what. I don't know. Right near where I live, ASU has another section of its college over there. But it's getting ridiculous. I'm sorry. Panhandling's not a job. Those people that used to do it, they were doing it because they were trying to get by. Now the people now, some people have just made it a job. There was a guy who was going and saying, oh my goodness, my car broke down and blah, 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 blah. 2 weeks later, he was still going, oh my goodness, my car broke down. A while back, not too long ago, there was this lady that was going around asking people to give her hundreds of dollars so that she could go home. I was like, excuse me? For one thing, if I had hundreds of dollars, I still wouldn't give it to you. And for another thing, I don't have it. And that was the point. She was like, I'm just trying to get over to Texas. And I think she was something like 200 and some for a ticket to Texas. I was looking at her like, excuse me, but I'm not going to give you that kind of money. She goes, I have only $50 and I'm trying to make the rest. And she wanted me to give her that kind of money. Like, if I had that kind of cash, for one thing, I think I only had $2 in my wallet. And that's just ridiculous to me. I just looked at her like, oh, somebody needs to slap you. I'm sorry, but to be honest, she did not look like she was trying to make it to Texas. She looked like she was just trying to make it to the next bottle. But whatever. And then I think it was four. This is recent. That one was recent. Was it a couple of weeks after that? There was a guy going around, and he was doing something similar, but in his case, he only needed 150, and he needed a tire. And I'm like, what? Well, I need to replace my tire, and my tire's 200, and I was like, oh, get away. I was like, this is getting ridiculous. The first they're asking for plane tickets, and the next time they're asking for tires for their car. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what kind of car do you have? You have a Hummer? I don't know. This is just getting ridiculous. And those people are still there. And what was funny is while this guy is spinning and spinning, that was his job, spinning a sign. Another person, I heard that because we were sitting there at the light. The um the person who's panhandling goes over. I was gonna say another word. I don't want to say that word. I'm just gonna say person that was panhandling says to him who's spinning the sign, and he's getting paid by doing that, says to him, excuse me, but I'm working here. The guy says, excuse me, you're a panhandler. You're not working. You get the hell across the street because I'm working. I'm gonna get paid for spinning this damn sign. He says, and even if it's covered with your shit after I shove it up your ass and pull it back out and start spinning this. And I just started laughing. My friend says, what's so funny? And I just did not want to go down that guy's road of what was going on across the street on the other side of the light, where we were on this side waiting for the light to turn green. But it was hilarious. I was like, no, you did it. It's funny. But I'm like, oh, you go, girl. You're the one that's there standing in the hot sun, spinning that damn sign. And the thing that makes it so crazy, it's hotter than sin, and they got long sleeve and a hoodie. And he's spinning and spinning, even has gloves on, and he's got a hoodie. And I'm thinking to myself, when I did that job, well, it wasn't a job, it was helping out in California, and we were in the sun. I wore a thin green sleeve that was just a sleeve to protect my arms. I didn't put a heavy hoodie on myself and spin and gloves. And it's just so crazy. But he did. That was what's his idea to do. I'm going to put on a hoodie. I went to here. I was like, okay, God forbid you have a sunstroke, because I saw no water, not a water bottle anywhere. So I just was like, okay. But that's what's going on here in Arizona. It's just so crazy. we got panhandlers all over where I live now. I lived in South Phoenix, and there's a few there, like one or two, and that's it. But up here, there's like every single light has a panhandler, not a spinner. That person's getting paid to do it. He's not putting his hand out to ask for a handout. But over here, there's like everywhere. There was one on each light one day with their hand out asking for money. And then they started fighting. Excuse me, but there's other lights you could be at. And I just was like, okay, well, they're not at the same light. One was at each corner, but they were crossing there. So if they came this way, they could ask there. The other person was asking for the person there. The other person was asking there. I mean, it was just so crazy. And I'm like, I want to work. I don't want to panhandle for money. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that anyway. I wouldn't do it. I'm not that kind of person. I'm outgoing, but I'm not outgoing enough to do that kind of stuff. I would never be able to go door to door and ask people for, do you want to buy a vacuum and all that kind of stuff they do, or do you want to buy a Bible or some stuff like that. I could never be a person that worked Jehovah Witness, because I could never do what they do. I couldn't go around and harass people and then have another point of view of the Lord and get mad at somebody because my mom and I didn't get mad at them. They were saying that Jesus went to the wedding and he gave them grape juice. Technically, wine is grape juice, but we didn't call it that because it wasn't grape juice, it was wine. But that was the point. But I could never panhandle or go do any of that stuff. And they fought with us saying, "Oh no, it was grape juice," and he would never get him drunk. And we said we didn't say made him drunk. He just turned the containers into wine. That's all he did. Whether you drank a lot or not, that was your business. And that was my point, and we laughed. It was funny after they went away because they were angry because we did not bend to their idea of Jesus and everything. But anyway, how do you feel about those panhandlers? They just drive me crazy. And I don't know. To me, it just become just a big bomb about going to the airport because I hate going to the airport. We were driving to San Francisco at this point because we stopped liking to go and deal with the stupid airport. Now we have to deal with the airport because we're just flying over and then going over to, um, we go from San Francisco to LA in the AIDS life cycle. So we have to fly from San Francisco to San Francisco to start the race. And when it finishes, we fly from LA back to Arizona. But if I could, I would have them leave the leave a car over in LA, finish the race. We could stay there if we wanted to, and then after enjoying the ending. But see, we don't do that. We run and catch the airplane flight because the next day he has to go to work. I'm still looking for work. It's crazy. But I'm not going to go panhandle. I just can't. It's just not in me. But what do you think? How about subscribing to my channel up there? Um, Leaving me a message or a conversation you'd like me to talk about? Or put the hand up and say hi. and give me your opinion on what you thought about what I talked about. But remember, AA, see you in church.